I noticed Kyle Kulinski went off on Lauren Boebert, who should have been my opponent for Congress. I was going to run. I would have done it had the People's Party responded to my submission, to my application, but they never did. So let's take a look and see what Kyle Kulinski has to say. Lauren Boebert compares Ilhan to terrorists.
It's where I like to live. I like to live at the intersection of politics and culture because
this holiday season, it's going to be busy.
So Lauren Boebert, Representative Lauren Boebert, or as I like to call her, Dollar Store Marjorie Taylor Greene, she stepped in a little bit of hot water recently. And stepped in hot water. Is that even the way the phrase goes? I don't think that's the way the phrase goes. Whatever. You understand what I'm saying, so it doesn't really matter if I get it right or wrong. She has been going around at all these like right-wing events and telling this story. It was totally made up about Ilhan Omar. She tells this story about Ilhan Omar was in the elevator with me, and I was scared until I looked over and saw she wasn't wearing a backpack, and she didn't drop it and run, so I'm safe. In other words, I thought this congressperson was a terrorist, but it's okay, she's not because she's not wearing a backpack, so we're good ski. She literally calls Ilhan Omar and the squad the Jihad Squad. I think that's maybe I'm going to be kind here. You think that's maybe a touch hyperbolic? There are other words we could use for it. Bigoted, xenophobic. But you think maybe that's just a touch too far? Lauren Boebert. Okay, well, Fox News can't even put their spin on this to make this sound okay. What happened was, after she was caught telling this story, it was a totally fabricated story. So Ilhan, of course, was like, the idea that she was in the elevator with her and whatnot. So Ilhan was like, you're making this story up, and also, it's massively bigoted. What the fuck are you doing? So Lauren Boebert calls Ilhan Omar. I guess nominally, I would have, if I was Ilhan, I would expect her to be like, all right, my bad, I'm sorry, I won't tell that story again. I don't know if that's what happened. I don't know if she apologized initially, but either way, Ilhan was like, you need to apologize publicly. Because what you said is dangerous. I'm getting death threats, and this is insane. Like, do the right thing. To which Lauren Boebert responded, hell no, and then she started demanding Ilhan for an apology. Apology for what? Okay. I'll save the rest for after. Take a look at the Fox News clip on it.
We have another chapter tonight in the feud between two congresswomen. One Republican who said something that even her colleagues on her side of the aisle have condemned, and one Democrat who's reacting to those remarks and pushing back. Congressional correspondent Chad Pergram tells us who's involved and what's being said tonight. Good evening, Chad.
Good evening, Brett. There was a call today between the congresswomen. It lasted about 2 minutes. It did not go well.
I will continue to fearlessly put America first, never sympathizing with terrorists. Unfortunately, Ilhan can't say the same thing, and our country is worse off for it.
Lauren Boebert said she wanted a meeting, but Ilhan Omar made it clear that would not happen. Both parties tell Fox there were no raised voices on the call. Boebert tells Fox Omar hung up on her. Omar's office says it was clear the call wasn't going anywhere. Omar says Boebert doubled down on her remarks. Boebert said she wants Omar to apologize for anti-Semitic and anti-police rhetoric. Omar's office tells Fox the Minnesota Democrat announced she was ending the call, then hung up. This remark is what sparked the dispute.
I looked to my left, and there she is, Ilhan Omar. Oops. And I said, well, she doesn't have a backpack. We should be fine.
Boebert also referred to Omar as a member of the, quote, Jihad Squad on the House floor earlier this month. Democratic leaders demanded the GOP, quote, take real action to confront racism. Democrats have tinkered with trying to censure Boebert and remove her from committees. The House already voted to strip Republicans Marjorie Taylor Greene and Paul Gosar of their committee assignments.
So now Ilhan is getting death threats. And she called a press conference and played one of the voicemails of the death threats. And you got everything in there. You got N-word, terrorist, we're going to come get you, I promise you, all that stuff. And this is a direct result of what Lauren Boebert is saying. She is, ramping up anti-Muslim sentiment in the country. And it's not even debatable. It's not even debatable. you can imagine an analog.
Okay, so I want to take a look at Lauren Boebert's Wikipedia because you'll find this interesting. My mom lives in Rifle. Rifle's not far from where I grew up, and Rifle is the name says it all. Rifle. That is where Lauren Boebert had a restaurant, and she represents that district. Rifle is a part of that district that she represents. But okay, so she's 34, born in 86, Republican, obviously. Owns Shooter Grill, a restaurant in Rifle where staff members are encouraged to openly carry firearms. I grew up, many of the people that I knew were like this. It seems to have gotten worse, but there's definitely that feeling when I grew up. But here's what I find very interesting. She's not really from Rifle. She was born in Florida, and she was there. Okay, well, Florida Rifle. Okay, so she was 12 when she moved here. Okay, that kind of makes sense. So a lot of those formative years were spent in Florida. Florida Rifle, pretty similar. But the anomaly, I don't know if I'm using that word straight, right, but Montbello, she lived in Montbello, which is a black neighborhood of Denver, and later to Aurora. And Aurora once won an award like Denver, America's City or something like that, as being the most diverse city in the United States. One year, it's extremely diverse. Many different ethnic groups, people from all different parts of the world live in Aurora. And at some point, it's going to overtake Denver in population because it is a suburb, but it's a quickly growing suburb that doesn't have a lot of borders. It's wide open space. It's on the eastern part of the Denver metro area. Okay, so that makes sense, the Florida part, because I was like, how does somebody, there's poverty in Aurora, but how does somebody like that come from Aurora? Where it's that ingrained. I mean, I know you probably have crazy right wing, gun owners over there, but I mean, this lady's like, there's definitely seems to be racism, extreme racism, and it's hard for me to think of somebody growing up that racist in Aurora. Dropped out of high school her senior year. Got a job at a McDonald's in Rifle, and I know that McDonald's. Yeah, my mom, she's in a assisted living in Rifle as we speak, and she's having problems because a lot of the people that work for the center, the nursing home, whatever it is, they won't get vaxxed, and they're grossly underpaid. Okay. Yeah, so there seems to be a real educational issue there. She looks really dumb, like a really dumb person. And the idea that, people elected her for Congress, the stupidity is incredible. Yeah, a lot of stupid people. I knew a lot of stupid idiots growing up. And as I was expanding my brain here in the Denver metro area, meeting different kinds of people, they were obviously regressing and becoming more stupid. But what an idiot! What an absolute idiot! And you should have let me run against her because I could have beaten her.